Bismillah, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasul kareem, wa ala ali sahabi. No. Hey, what's going on? Assalamu alaikum. This is Malik Bhai, and now we are talking about the planning of the brothers. We already talked about the intro of Prophet Yusuf al-Islam, and then we had scene one where Prophet Yusuf al-Islam is talking to his dad about his dream, and how we know that he has a set of brothers who hate him and his younger brother Benjamin or Benjamin, and they're planning a plot against Prophet Yusuf al-Islam, trying to kill him. And let's find out how the planning goes. Okay, so now while they're talking, they're like, okay, so one of the brothers, I guess, who happened to be just have a little bit of sympathy for Prophet Yusuf al-Islam, he goes, don't kill him, but throw him in a well.
So sympathetic.
Right? That's very sympathetic. It's better than killing, right? He's like, okay, let's not kill him, but our goal is to just get rid of him, right? Let's just get rid of him so our father can just pay attention to us, okay? Now, and then he will be picked up by travelers. They can take him, and he's gone. So let's do that. So then they went to their dad, and they said, why don't you trust us to let him play with us, right? So dad already knows his sons, and he would not let Prophet Yusuf al-Islam go and play. So these guys, who believe that they're stronger, they're muscular or whatever, they have more strength. Of course, dad should love strength, but physical strength is important. A strong believer is better than a weak believer, but that strength can be physically, but also in your faith. And of course, Prophet Yusuf al-Islam is loved by his dad, Yaqoob al-Islam, because of his strength in his faith. And of course, he's a nicer guy than the other brothers. But they're like, we're so much stronger than him. How come he doesn't like us, right? As a group, there's 10 of us. There's only one, or there's only 2 of them that should like us. So let's get rid of him. And then, so then they go to the dad. Now they have this plan, right? Let's go talk to the dad, and we'll tell him, why don't you trust us? Like, we're your sons too. He's our brother. Don't you want him to play with us, right? So they go to the dad, and then Yaqoob al-Islam knows his son so much that he didn't want Yusuf to go, not even for a little moment, for a day. He wanted to make sure that he's watching out for his son, okay? So he said, I fear that he will be eaten by a wolf while you're unaware. So he's like, so Prophet Yaqoob, he's not going to say, sons, look at you guys, I don't trust you. I don't want, this son to go and play with you. So he goes, I'm just gonna. So he says something to let the kids know. So he's like, well, yeah. He's like, I don't want the wolf to be eaten. I don't want the wolf to eat my son while you guys are playing. Yeah. Well, while you guys are playing around, maybe you're gonna forget about Yusuf. What if a wolf ends up eating my son? So they're like, they came up with that plan, right? So they're like, what? How can this happen when we're so much stronger, right? We have so much strength. Trust me, Dad. We will protect him. Let him go. So now they didn't even want to use their mind. Okay, so they're going on to play whatever. They finally get the permission. Now, what was the dad excuse that he doesn't want
him to get eaten by a wolf?
So they're like, okay, we'll just take the same excuse. It's not even like they came up with a better excuse. They just took the same excuse from their dad, and they're like, so when they came back, basically they're gonna use the same thing and say, oh yeah, Dad, the wolf ate him, right? So what they did was, what was the plan? The original plan, not to kill him, but throw him in a well. Okay. So while they're about to throw him in the well, they take his shirt off. Okay, they take his shirt off and put blood of another animal on him. So now they already threw Yusuf.
Will it hurt when he goes down?
Well, there's gonna be water, right?
No, I thought there's a bucket.
No, people said there's a hadith or something that when he was falling down, like ancient Japan.
And then they said.
Regardless, Allah is not telling us in the Quran that much detail. Maybe it was mentioned later on, but the key is it's a well, okay? And then well is where they get the water from. So there must be water at the bottom, okay? But it must be so low that he could not climb up, and he's a kid right now, right? So they throw him in the well. They take his shirt off. They kill another animal. They put the blood of the other animal on this, a false blood on this shirt, and then they take it to the dad. Okay, so they took his shirt and put a blood of another animal, and guess what they said?
He was eaten by a wolf.
It was eaten by a wolf. What a creative excuse,
That's
right?
such a bad excuse.
I mean, it's the
but-
same thing the dad had said. I'm worried that the wolf will eat him,
My
and they
dog-
just like,
my dog-
hey, dad. Yeah, it's
And
almost.
then he looks at the shirt and it's not even ripped.
So when they were about to throw, now they said, "Oh, father," and they're fake crying, and then like, you'll never believe us, and they came and cried. Yaqoob said, "Your own self have made up this story," and he's like, "I will seek patience with Allah." He knew that they're just making up stuff, but now there's a gang of them. Even a father at that moment was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have patience, with Allah. Now, let's talk about what's happening on the other side.
But he did go blind, right, from crying so much.
Not right now. Okay? You guys, I know you guys have heard the story, but we're going step by step. And if I miss something later on, you can tell me. Yes, Isani Baba?
He did go to Pakistan.
No, he didn't go to Pakistan. Okay, so he went in a well. Now, a caravan was passing by. Okay? And they sent their like water boy to go and fetch some water. So he throws a bucket inside the water. That's how they used to go. They didn't have taps back in the days. You'll turn on and you'll have water coming out. So they send this water boy, some servant to go and fetch water. So he throws a bucket with the rope in the well, and then he starts pulling it up. So then guess what happens? Yusuf al-Islam jumps on the bucket, right? And when he's pulling it up, he's like, so as soon as the water comes out, there's no water, there's a boy sitting in the bucket. And then that guy got so happy, he's like, I found a boy. Basically, now why is that person so happy?
Because this way he might be freed.
What's that?
He might be freed from being a water boy because this could be the new water boy.
Well, forget about the water boy, but in general, people get happy in that day because they're like, okay, this guy doesn't belong to anyone. Of course, somebody threw him there. We can take him. Now, because he's a young boy, back in the days, slavery was, common. People would buy slaves and sell them, okay? Or they will buy slave when they were young, and they will just basically
Take care.
take care of them and train them, so then they can take care of them. It's almost like training an employee. So you could be a slave at some rich guy's house.
An employee who doesn't get paid.
An employee, yeah, but they'll get taken care of. They'll get their food or whatever, but they can't just leave the job whenever they want. Okay, they are working for their master, and they are the slaves. So then, especially if it's a young boy, they are super happy because now we can train this person to be our slave, to cook for us, to do whatever, right? So they were very happy because now you can sell this slave. Now they sold him for reduced price. Okay.
What was reduced?
Like for very little money. Okay, they sold him, but they didn't know what this guy is going to become. This is a prophet of Allah. He's priceless, right? There's a huge value for this, but they're like, you know what? They didn't know, so they said, he's just a boy that they found in a well. So they go back to their city, they sell him. Now, a man in Egypt bought him. Okay, who else is from Egypt? Which?
That king. Wait.
Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Right. But this is not talking about Pharaoh right now, right? This is way before.
But is it? Oh no, it's
Way before. We're going in order.
There is another pharaoh though.
No, this is at that time you just have king, right? A man in
Pharaohs.
Egypt bought him. I don't think pharaohs were in power at that time, right? That it's a dynasty, right?
Yeah.
That ran for like thousands of years, and they just kept on having another king, and the king will die, his son will take over. But this might not be at his time. It could be, I don't know. But right now we're not there yet. But it's still in the same area, in Egypt, Misr, right? A man in Egypt bought him, and he went home and told his wife to make his residence comfortable, right? So already you can see that Prophet Yusuf al-Islam, yes, he's a slave.
But he got lucky because this guy is nice.
Yep. Now he's a minister. Okay, he's a rich guy from a very high up family. He's in the leadership team of the king at that time, and he is basically Prophet Yusuf al-Islam is being raised, learning how to run a government. Basically, he's around all the big government officials now, right? And he's in a rich house. Yes, he's a slave, but he's being taken care of. So because this minister, Al-Aziz, he tells his wife to make his residence comfortable. Perhaps, why? Because he says perhaps, maybe he will benefit us or we can adopt him as a son. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put this special love of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam in the heart of this minister, okay, this rich guy. So this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala established Yusuf in the land, that we might teach him interpretations of events. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving this ayah. So Allah put Yusuf through this hard time so he can establish him. And I know that one day we're going to talk about the story of Salman al-Farsi, right? And you guys have heard that story already, but you know all the hardships that he went through. At the end, you know his ending was amazing. It was comfortable. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala established him. So same thing with Yusuf alayhi salam. And it's a message to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You might be going through some hard times right now, but Allah has a plan, right? Yusuf alayhi salam's brothers planned, and that plan ended up, it might seem at the moment that it's an evil plan, and it was, but through that evil plan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is establishing Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. So he's being trained in Aziz's house, who's basically like the prime minister, right? Maybe a treasurer, and Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam is gaining experience. And just like that, what other prophet, who we're going to talk about later on, was also trained in a house of a very big, powerful leader? Who?
Prophet Yusuf.
All right, very good. Okay, so now that we have, we got to a point where now Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, he's gonna grow older in this house. We'll talk about what's going to happen next at a later date. What happens in the house of Aziz? What happens later on to Prophet? Is this it? This is the good days of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, or is he gonna go through some bad or tough times even more? Again, keeping in mind that the main message of this story is patience. Okay, so with that, we'll end, inshallah. This is Malik Bhai, and we'll see you in our next video in the continuation of the best story ever that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed in the Quran, the story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. Take care, stay strong. Assalamu alaikum.